Hi, everyone. I'm Adriana Diaz. Thanks for joining us. We're learning more about the lives lost when a shooter opened fire Thursday in the Capital Gazette newsroom in Annapolis, Maryland. The shooting left 5 people dead. Gerald Fishman was the editorial page editor. Co-workers described him as quirky and smart, making sure everything was, quote, just right. Robert Hyacin was described as a gifted editor with an aura of an artist, inspiring colleagues to make journalism a beautiful craft. Yesterday, the day he was killed, was his wife's birthday. John Mcnamara was a sports writer and copy editor who could talk intelligently about everything from politics to literature. Rebecca Smith was a sales assistant, engaged to be married. Friends and coworkers called her kind and considerate with a big heart. Wendy Winters, the special publications editor, was a mother of 4 and a mentor to young journalists. She was called the heart of the newspaper because she cared so much about serving the city. On Friday, the president addressed the shooting at an event. Here's what he had to say.
This attack shocked the conscience of our nation and filled our hearts with grief. Journalists, like all Americans, should be free from the fear of being violently attacked while doing their job.
Our Chip Reid is in Annapolis with more on the shooting.
In Annapolis today, the victims of Thursday's mass shooting were remembered at a vigil. Not far from where Jared Ramos was earlier charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. He appeared in court by video link from the nearby county jail where he is on suicide watch. He did not utter a word and showed little, if any, emotion. The judge ordered him held without bond after State's Attorney Wes Adams alleged that before Ramos opened fire, he turned the Capital Gazette newspaper's offices into a deadly trap.
The rear door was barricaded. Mr. Ramos then, as I told the judge, entered into the front door and worked his way through the office where he was shooting victims as he walked through the office.
The weapon, a pump-action shotgun that police say Ramos bought legally about a year ago. The carnage could have been much worse if police had not arrived and found Ramos hiding under a table in less than 2 minutes. They say they thwarted what had been his plan to escape.
He was as angry an individual as I have ever seen.
Brennan McCarthy represented a woman who was harassed and stalked by Ramos for years. He says the moment he heard about the shooting, he knew it was Ramos.
I knew who did it. He did it.
And you've said it was inevitable.
It was inevitable.
That he was
going to do something violent. The only question was, who would he get first?
CBS News national correspondent Chip Reid joins us now from Annapolis. Chip, you sat down with the lawyer of the woman who said she was stalked by the shooting suspect. What else did he have to say about the suspect?
Well, you heard him say that this shooting or something horrible by this guy was absolutely inevitable. A lot of people felt that way. And you might ask, well, then why didn't people do something about it? Well, they tried, he says. He said they did everything within the law they could to stop him. He said the law as it exists in this free country simply does not permit people to put people behind bars simply because they're threatening or they do things that scare people. They have to clearly cross the line into egregious criminal behavior to be put behind bars for any long period of time, and that simply did not happen. Apparently, he says Ramos was too smart to cross that line.
Did that attorney mention how his client is doing, what she might be feeling right now?
He did. In fact, he said that he called her right after the shooting, and she said that she is still terrified. Even though he's behind bars, she has been fearing for her life for about a decade. She moved out of Maryland. He doesn't want to give her name or say where she went, but she's still so frightened, even though he is behind bars.
And Chip, you mentioned in your piece that prosecutors revealed that the rear doors of the building were blocked. How did that factor into the judge's decision to hold Ramos without bail and charge him with 5 counts of first-degree murder?
Well, the prosecutor said that his job was to argue that he's a threat to the community, a danger to the community. And part of that was to show how methodical and tactical this attack was. It wasn't just a random thing, a passionate thing. It was really pre-planned ahead of time. He wanted to convince the judge he's really a dangerous man. But I tell you, Adriana, he's been charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. I think the prosecutor could have argued just about anything, and the judge would have ruled to keep him behind bars.
It sounds like it was such a scary scene. Chip, how are the victims' colleagues holding up?
They are actually struggling with this, as you can imagine, tremendously. You can see the building right through there. Between those trees is the building where the newspaper's offices are and where the shooting happened. They are still putting out a paper every day. They think that the best thing they can do is just to keep working and persevere through the pain. Adriana?
Well, their newspaper today was certainly defiant. Chip Reid, thank you so much.
You bet.